I hear some familiar voices. Oh, hello, boys and girls. This is my heroes. I'm filming. Hello. This is Mikael.
I want to make more films from Närpes.
Yeah, exactly.
Next time Mulliberg.
Yeah, you promised me about that.
Yeah.
When are we gonna go?
Whenever you like.
Okay.
Today if you want.
Hey, we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, directly after here you have filmed this because look, at 6 o'clock I must be back here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we can go.
You're okay if I put this on YouTube?
Huh?
Are you okay?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
put it on YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah.
I never get some real people.
Yeah.
Hey, we will do that.
We can go now directly if you want.
Yeah, we can do that.
It is very easy to find,
Yeah,
so we can jump in the car and then we come back.
yeah.
Okay?
Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Okay.
So guys, I'm gonna go with my friend's dad to an old place that used to be a church, a hedonistical church that is probably more than... How old do you think the church is? The Mulliberg church.
I think the church is from 1,500 years about. Between 1,000 and 1,500 years, maybe older, because it's on a height of 17, 18, 19 meters and they built it at the coast. So you can chance it. Maybe it is from the birth of Christ, 2,000 years. It's difficult to say. It's not still, but we have found coal and analyzed, and this was more than 700 years.
Okay.
About 700 years old. So they made fire there inside the ring. It's like a ring, and we can now drive to there and have a look on it.
Yeah, see if we can find some artifact.
It is in the same village, Finnby. Here is also Finnby,
Right.
on the east side of the river. The river is over there.
Right.
It's about 3-4 kilometers from the center of Närpes.
Okay.
It's in the north of the village of Finnby, which is situated on the east side of the river,
Right.
central village. And this houses now belong to this village because they tried to be a town.
Building houses, see. So we're gonna go to this place
Yeah,
and
we go there.
we'll see you
With
there.
my car.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's go. It's this red one. So we concluded on the church. We talked a bit about this, what we think is an old church. It's a pagan church, and they have found some trace of some wood or some coal that it's more than, say, 700 years old. But before, it was some kind of pagan worship that happened there on this place that we're going.
That is what we think. It's not the only one of
No.
these giant churches from Pagan. There are some which are situated higher. For example, if you go from Brahestad, Rahe in the north to the east, then you find such a place, Castelli. You find this on the height of Brahestad, also it's 300 kilometers north from here, and it's on 50 meters height. That means that it was
Different back then.
It is 5,000 years old, old about, and that means that this ring, but it's more open and bigger.
You think that this church we're going to is even older than the Stonehenge?
No, not this one. This one is not older than Stonehenge. This one is
that one outside Brahestad.
Yeah, that outside Brahestad, inside the country on a hill which is 50 meters high, and the name is Castelli. This may be same age or even a little bit older than is today called Mulliberg, as a little hill, and it's called Mulli Hill.
Mulli Hill.
But 100 years ago the name was Nulli, and Nulli is the same like north.
Yeah.
And that is quite sure from the god which name was Njord.
Oh, here we need to watch out. Big truck. Yeah.
In this hill without any trees. You know, in the beginning when it came out as an island from the sea, there were no trees.
Right.
And so it was very a monument to build such a giant church on a hill with very little vegetation.
Right.
Because in the
Was very
beginning there
difficult.
was only stone coming from the and earth from the bottom of the sea.
You mean that this
Yeah.
is on a volcano?
Yeah. I believe it was a volcano under the sea, and it looks like this. It's really like a circle,
Right.
and goes to the summit like a volcano, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And on the top you find graves from the Bronze Age,
Okay.
typical great stones, which means that the higher class people were buried there. And
Right.
they use red stones because they were not so easy to find. If they have something to do with my hypothesis of volcano, I don't know.
Okay.
But now we go up here.
So I will show you around. And it,
After a while, you will see this
just
monument,
forest.
which we call a giant church, but it has many different names. The last was
Yeah, but
Lindby Church.
right. But for the viewers, so many don't know that this used to be like the water level was different back then. So
Yeah.
Närpes was basically a lot of islands.
Yeah, an archipelago.
And when Christianity spread, some still used to hold on to their pagan worship, spirituality.
Exactly.
So that's why we think that there's a church here we're gonna check out.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you some history because Mikael here is an expert in the area. He has been studying history and
archaeology
culture
and history.
for a long
Since I
time.
came to Närpes for 50 years ago.
And he's originally a doctor, so he has a lot of knowledge in different sciences, so he can
I
maybe
come from Austria.
comes from
born
Austria.
in Vienna.
right ended up here in Finland.
That's the usual reason. The
Wow.
woman.
All right. Yeah, the
usual
woman.
reason.
They
A
are the
Viking-
bad guys.
She was a Viking queen.
She was a Viking princess, and now she's a Viking queen.
Yeah, you can make a film of her also, if she allows.
You're right. So you can show the way.
Now we are quite close, and there was a harbor.
Right, and you can see the water level is different.
And it was,
There was a
it
harbor
was
here.
Like it was like a shelter for the boats. And I believe that the very well-known Rurik, who founded both Novgorod and Kiev, first Kiev and then Novgorod, that means today's Ukraine and today's Russia, in the 9th century. He was born about 830. And I believe, because there is genetic proof that he comes from this region.
You mean Rurik, the Viking king,
Yeah.
came from Närpes?
Yeah.
From here?
I believe that Rurik was born here, or on the land, or maybe on a boat, and I believe that he was in his mother's stomach when the mother was rowing. They still have in the school here the first sentence, Mor ror, mother is rowing.
Okay.
Ja.
Wow.
Att han blev till i en båt också.
Right, that he was
He
manufactured.
was very,
Came till in a boat.
very famous of these primary Viking boats, which were rowing boats.
Right,
This was not sailing boats yet
right.
in the beginning.
So wow, guys,
They
that's
could
such
go
a
into the rivers directly and, to the east.
right,
They could go directly to the east on water
right.
roads. You see.
Wow.
The water was easy
To navigate.
to go on and to communicate.
But guys,
Here you already
oh my gosh,
this giant church, Moody Guy,
oh my god.
and it really looks fantastic. It is big, and it must have been much work for these
Oh my
people
God.
to build it. Maybe that they built it not in one decade or in one century. Maybe they built a little bit on it later, but it is protected.
Oh my
So it's not allowed to take stones from here. It's an archaeological monument. An archaeological monument which is protected by the museum organization of Finland.
Right.
That's why we have this sign here.
Right, so this area is protected so people cannot take stones from it. Oh my god, look at this church, guys. Here's the entrance.
Here is the sign, and here you can imagine here was water. Here was water, and here is the sign that it is protected.
Yeah.
And as I said,
Have you seen something?
today it is on about 18 meters height, and it's totally a circle. It's a circle, 50 meters long and 15 meters in the diameter.
Oh my.
And if you look on this, you can see that there was fire. The fire made the stone, it is in a way broken here.
So there was a fire here.
And we found this coal just 90 centimeter under this stone. So here the people made fire, it's quite sure, some 700 years ago. So it was used still when the Christians came and built the first church. The Pagan people still came here to worship the old gods, which was Nertus, Njord, Freya, Ostara eventually, and Ul. But Ul was also in the Asa gods, and there are many stories when the Asa overtook. And the reason that the Asa gods, Uden and Tur and all these many gods overtook and one did win about the Vana was that it was then not anymore allowed that brother and sister marry.
Right.
It was this incest taboo.
Right.
In the Vana god, they had the god Nertus the husband was Njord. But it is a little bit unclear, but they were sister and brother, and maybe there was only one god who had two sexual identities.
Oh, you mean that some gods would allow this like strange behavior?
Yeah, it's incest taboo.
Right.
In the old time, in the Bronze Age, when they still had the goddess of Frey and Freya.
Did they think it would
be? It was allowed that sister and brother were married and had sexual intercourse.
Did they think it would have some higher
but then they
divine?
understood that this is not good for the afterworld,
offspring,
for the children.
Right.
So the Asa gods said no, and then naturally the gods were not allowed to be married, sister and brother.
Right.
Either. So they changed the Njord to a women god, and she was then the female Njord, where the name comes here from Nord and Nulli and Mulliberg.
Right.
She was then the partner of the god of everything.
Right, and that was kind of here. So we can say that
they used natural stones. The most significant and biggest is this stone. This stone, which they used, which was naturally here. I don't know that they changed it, but it's not
big.
It's not impossible that they changed it in a way. But actually, it looks like this American animal. We had a
buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
See the head here.
Right.
And the back. So.
My God.
I have the fantasy that when the Vikings from Närpes decided to go to the west, they said we will go as long until we find such an animal. That's why they went to America.
Right.
So here you see the reason why the Vikings went to America.
Right. It really looks like a buffalo when you think
Buffalo,
about
yeah.
it. Like there,
Buffalo.
I don't know if you can see it here from the
Yeah.
camera, but it really looks
Yeah.
like a buffalo.
Yeah, it looks like a buffalo.
Like there.
Yeah.
So
The head is
wow. So this sounds like almost where the Viking mythology has come from. Sounds like this is the place where mythology started.
Actually, I not only believe that Rurik was the only one who comes from Närpes, the famous. They call him Variag, but I should better say he was a Viking who went to the east. He comes from people. The name was Sviones. But the Finns have difficulties. The Finns who came from the east and from the south, and they write about in their epos Kalevala, and they call the reigning woman Pohjan Akka. Pohja is this land. It's the bottom of the sea, so which comes out all the time. And as the Finns had difficulty to pronounce the word Svion, they said Wien, and then it came. After that came Viking. I'm quite sure.
Okay.
That I have found the reason or the ground.
The logic for the language.
From which word and from what part of the north the Vikings actually come. They come actually from today's West Finland.
Right.
This is often forgotten.
Okay, so the Vikings
when
come
they
from
talk
here.
about West Finland, they believe that the Vikings did come here
Yeah.
from today's Sweden, but it's the other way around.
Because
they
I wanted-
started here.
Right, because I wanted to ask, like, where is the Vikings from? Like, you said something
The Vikings
about the bloods.
are as they are a mixture from this Scandinavian tribe, which name is Svion.
Svion, right.
And Sitonen, the Cornelius Tacitus writes about Sviones and Sitones. And they are quite alike. They have these Viking boats, and they are peaceful people. They have no weapons bearing because they are on islands surrounded by water. When there's coming an enemy, they see it in time.
Right.
They can go after weapons which they have closed up, special place. And the mixture of the Svions and Sitons, you can guess that they had a woman leader. And it is known that the Vikings very often, also in Sweden, in Birka, had women some leaders.
Right.
The graves they found now, when they have the DNA, that it was women who were leading the society. It's still in Finland, are the women very strong and in leader positions. We just had a government only of women.
Right,
Finland.
which we kind of have forgotten today. We think that this kind of idea of the patriarchy, that it's the man who's been dominating, and for sure there's been a lot of abuse of men's power, but I think maybe it was women one time who were really running the show.
You can also see a connection between the first goddess, which was a woman fertility goddess.
This is Närtus.
Närtus. Yeah,
it's the old name
the
for
next
Närpes.
generation Freya. But then already coming the Frey also so both men and women. But the women had in a way the higher position, because everybody knows that the women give birth to the children, and actually every little hill, especially this one, which is so circular, so round,
this place
when
here.
it comes up such as an island,
Yeah.
it looks like a birth of a child.
Right,
It comes up like a birth, so it's a very good symbol for fertility.
Right, this place, this church, where we're really, you see here, oval shaped. It's like it's like a horseshoe.
Yeah.
And here we come out. I'm gonna show you from a different perspective.
But the Vikings are a mixture. The Vikings are a mixture between Scandinavians, Svion, and Finns.
Right,
And the name is also a mixture.
right. So that was a bit of origin of the.
And here was water like a shelter, a good harbor.
Right.
very safe.
Yeah, you can see that it
And many fishes.
have been a harbor here, obvious from the level difference.
Because it's old from the sea.
Right,
So it's rich. So there are many fishes and other animals in the water.
right. The ground here was really rich with animal life. It was good ground
animal life
for
both
fishing.
in the water and on the
Right.
on the land.
And because there was
the
water
fur,
here.
alltså, skinnet var ju väldigt viktigt.
Yeah, the skin, the fur.
The fur,
And they used to hunt
to make
seals.
business.
Right.
To make business.
And here you can see, I don't know if you see it, but down there you see it's like
was
lowland.
Imagine as blue as water, the field which is yellow there.
Right.
And imagine that it was blue water. In
Right.
the time.
So that was
And
blue.
This was an island. Now it's a hill.
Right. Wow. It's amazing. And I'm gonna show you this church before we go. I have kind of a hard time leaving this place. It's so magical. It's like Stonehenge, this place.
It's like Stonehenge. It's also for the gods and goddesses before the Christianity.
Right.
So it's a pagan.
And almost nobody from this place know about this place.
No,
So
they
sad.
know when they are skiing in winter, they know that there is a place they go with skiing. Right?
But how many do you think really go here? Because it's really
There are some people in Närpes who are very interested.
right.
But the majority of Närpes people are mostly thinking for today and tomorrow
And thinking about money,
and money.
think how they can get
Making
more.
Business.
Business as
so
usual.
in that way, they are still Vikings. They like to make business
Right, right.
and have ideas to how to make business.
Mm.
That is in their genetic.
Yeah, we're really good at that
but
here.
The interest for the past is not very big.
No.
And then they don't want to make themselves higher. So when we say that they are the Vikings, they are a little bit shy.
Right.
Shy that it may be.
Maybe people don't want to be associated with like this kind of Viking brand, which is kind of built on the idea of raiders going and slaughtering people, like being brute killers. So, for sure there was probably, that happening, but there was probably also a lot of people who were peaceful living here on these islands. And
the peace has a tradition. We have still a peace society in Närpes, which is quite strong in spite of the fact that Finland now is in the NATO.
right,
But people want to have peace
right,
and want to make trade with different things and different kind of activities. And as I am a psychiatrist, and in old times they said they had the theater, they have also culture.
yeah,
For example, a very fine open-air theater
right.
where you have
Breathe in.
the whole world around like a scenery,
Mm-hmm.
and you can show this another time.
Yeah.
And then they have the tomatoes and cucumbers, and then they have the trailers.
Right.
In old time,
Among our
50
biggest
years
industries
ago,
here.
they still had textile industry, and the Russians in Soviet did buy clothes from here. But
Right, the textile industry used to be
nowadays, no
big here.
textile. So as a psychiatrist, I say nowadays we have therapy, all kinds of therapy.
Right. You have metal work and greenhouse
Not only
work.
psychotherapy, all kinds of special therapies, stone therapy, and
Oh, right.
all
You mean it
kinds
like that?
of, natural is the school medicine and the therapy,
Right,
which
right.
is given by the community.
Yeah, we'll see the graves another time.
Because the woman who knows the way, I can take contact with her. And
Right.
she can come and show it.
So it's pretty hard to find these old ancient graves here. So we need to find some local woman who lives somewhere around here. So
From the Bronze Age, they are not as big as from the Stone Age.
Right.
From the Stone Age, they have bigger graves,
right.
which are circular.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Bronze Age, they have such graves which are like today graves.
Okay, okay.
So they're
So
like
some
rectangular.
somewhere around here,
They are on the top
there.
on the top of the hill
Right.
here. But as
In
there
the-
are so many trees, you cannot get the right impression. But the top of the hill is 36 meters.
Right, right. So that's the
It was
peak.
35 when I came, but 50 years ago. But it's half a meter
Right.
growing.
It's been
Still growing. The earth is going up nearly 1 centimeter a year.
every year, yeah.
Nearly 1 meter in 100 years.
Mhm.
The earth goes up, and the reason is that
So
there
it will
was
be
4
higher.
kilometer ice pressing down the earth
Right.
100,000 years. But 10,000 years ago, it got warmer, and then the East Sea and the Botnian
And it started melting.
Sinus Botnicus was the youngest sea in the world,
Right.
and very sensitive.
Jo. So now we're leaving this place. So guys, this is a private property. So you know you cannot just come here. So,
Cleaning the tractor.
so we so I have special allowance.
Yeah.
But of course, I guess that they're in the middle of the forest. I don't know. It's not allemansrätt. I guess everybody can go in the forest, but not on a private, property, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
So you cannot walk here.
It's good to ask the people
Yeah.
around, and they have all reason to be proud to have this place.
Right. So just ask the
He
people.
actually-
But what do you think, like the church authorities or like the museum organization in Finland, who should look after these things? Like, there's like no history about that church.
They have concentrated the money to South Finland, and they get up the ice now. Nowadays they got up the ice for this, and actually archaeological scene. So is it very easy? Because you don't need to dig
Right.
to find it.
Right,
It comes up through the rising of the land.
Right.
So it's served like on a.
It's already above the ground.
Som på en bricka
Right.
serveras det.
It's,
Yeah.
so
So now it changes, and then there are some articles written about these giant churches I mentioned here, and there is an archaeologist who works in Kokkola, and he is interested about Stone Age villages, and I did listen to him in November.
so he made something about this
Yeah,
place.
and he mentioned these giant churches, and I invited him to come here.
Right. So
Yeah.
great that they're making this place, like more known, and they start to research about
very,
it.
very important to make this place more known.
Right. It's like people really forget about history, and it's really like, in your back door or like
But
backyard.
this monument stands there as a symbol for the old the time before history,
Right.
the prehistory.
Like,
And
exactly.
history is the time when they started to write, but this was before the Vikings started then to write. But it's older than that. What we call the Viking time.
It's older than the Viking
is
time.
very short, but now they understand they must make it bigger and more to the east and longer into the back in time. The Viking time actually starts already. If you want, you can say the Viking time starts already in Stone and Bronze Age, and so started to make these boats. But the name Viking first time was mentioned in England on a document about 700 about a kind of tourist who went here and met Vikings
Right.
in the 6th century.
So the text in England is from this place, somewhere from here. As you said, they mentioned.
It's a poem in England from the 8th century, which is telling about a man who's a traveler. I said tourist, a traveler in the north from Europe who told that he met
a Viking.
Vikings.
Right.
They're the first time the Viking, and he
Was
also
mentioned.
told that he met the Hun Mongols.
Oh, that he met the
But he called
Mongols.
them Hunnen.
Okay.
Hans.
That he met them, but
He met them, and this is very typical.
you think they met Not that he met them here.
You know, he met them. Yeah, where exactly? But it must be today's Finland,
Right.
Because they came from the east.
Right.
That means that they were. The name Viking was already in the 6th century, and this is very typical that the Finns, which were in a kind Hans, came in the end of the migration of the people.
Right.
About just in the 5th and 6th century, they came more and more here, and they did write this epos Kalevala about this time.
Right.
And they were fighting about this for this fertile land, which is here. Fertile land, fertile on land and fertile on sea, as we said, and they call it sampo, which is a mill which gives grain all the time.
Oh, right, and the sampo is the god in the mythology.
Yeah, the rich.
Yeah.
Richness is a symbol for, and the leader of this land here in the islands was a woman.
Right.
And they call it the old woman of the land of the ground of the sea.
Right, which was
Pohjanakka.
Pohjanakka.
Louhi.
So now we're coming back to
The tennis.
to the old place.
We just went over the bridge.
So yeah,
The Närpes River.
but imagine King Rurik, have walked on this land that we are on here, that we are actually happen to be born in, which is also bizarre.
Maybe he's born on a boat.
Right, but he lived here so yeah.
Perhaps a little bit north, but I think he when he started to the east, then he went to the priest on this very place we were now.
Right.
And he got the kind of holiness,
Right.
Välsignelse.
Right.
Because the
He was some
Njord,
chosen
the
one.
god Njord, which gave the name to this hill, is the god for sailors and traders, and that was just what the Vikings were. Still, they
Traders and hunters.
and they went with these rowing boats
Right.
to the east on the sea first, and then on the rivers through today's Russia.
Right.
And he's buried in Novgorod. The Rurik is buried. When he died, he was buried in Novgorod.
Okay. Wow. So you can check that out. Go to the Belgorod. I mean, traces of history is everywhere, isn't it? So you can easily look these things up. Maybe this thing with the Rurik, it's a bit speculatory, because I guess we don't know. Do we know about Rurik that he was from here with certainty, or is it like just a theory?
No, it's the last the DNA which shows that he had related, because he was the first Tsar of Russia.
Right.
And then his children and children, they are still living today.
Right.
And they found out they have the DNA which is from Närpes.
From Närpes, wow.
And a little bit from Kurika, a little bit today
Right.
Finland,
Right.
a neighbor,
The
but
neighboring
not from Sweden, excuse me, and not from Norway, excuse me, and not from Denmark, excuse me.
Right.
It's from West Finland.
West Finland, where we
And
are.
the Vikings come from the beginning, just from here.
Wow. My God, guys. Couldn't imagine this before I came here. We're gonna end the session here pretty soon. We might go and see some old maps and history books about this place at Mika's, but we're gonna round up here because we're at the tennis court, and he left some things here, so
No, this is a little thing, but I think I wanted to say that then later the Vikings in the east, they were all called Variag, because the Svearna, the Finns again could not say Svea,
Yeah.
so it would variag.
Right. The Finns they have hard to pronounce
but
it.
Rurik was no variag, he only was called a variag.
Right.
Because he was a Viking.
Right.
And he went to the east.
Mhm.
But some 100 years later, the monk from Kiev, Nestor, called him a variag.
Right.
Because later they came from Birka and they were variags.
Mhm.
But he was so early in 800 or 9th century that he was a Viking, and the name Viking was already from the 6th century. No, the name variag comes first about 1000 when,
Right.
when Birka was on its height.
Right. Because they had so hard to pronounce it. So that was it for now. or just continue.
Look at some maps.
Yeah, let's go and look at some maps.
Jaha, det är väl, vi ska se nu.
Oh my god, you see those balls? Hello, tennis stars. You're on MTV. So how did it go?
Känner om det är lite mjukt så.
Who won?
Så lämnar det där.
Right? Is she really good?
Yeah.
Wow. And what a great weather it was today.
Så noga. Inte så noga.
Yeah. Look at this tennis field. So beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna take a break here. We're gonna continue. Weather is perfect. Gonna finish this with a cold beer. Gonna continue this historical discovery of old Finland, or old
It's a
history.
very central place, and the language is the oldest language which you can imagine, because God already did talk to Närpes. That's why they're flat, because God made so, when he created the world, he made like this, and that's why it's so flat. And then he said in Närpes language, "Shenska folke bo." Here the people shall live.
Right. That's
So
real.
you cannot imagine an older language, because God already talked the Närpes dialect.
Who could have thought that this day would turn out like this? Here with my best friends, tennis court. I'm having a drink. History, baby. It's life. Oh my god. I'm the worst. No, I'm the best. Am I approved? So we're gonna start to go. So we're back here at Mika's place, and we found some old records here. They have made some DNA tests of people that are from this area here in Närpes. So we believe that they are related to Rurik, and just look at this data, it's pretty interesting. So you see here they have made some tests for some DNA markers that they think are descendants to Rurik. You see here these names: Smeds, question mark there on Henriksson, Smith, Talonen, that's a Finnish name, and Keskinen. And here you see the, I guess that's the protein sequence. I'm not so skilled with this biological terminology, but
From Närpes and the neighbor community, Kurikka.
right.
So this is also a proof that
Närpes.
the Vikings, like Rurik, are a kind of mixture of Scandinavians and Finns.
Right. And you see here on these places here that these persons came from Närpes, or in some time they were in Närpes here. It's pretty
They have
old
the
date.
same kind of DNA genetic.
Right.
Rurik genetic.
Here we found some old book that contains some old maps of Närpes. Yeah, here is some old. This is of Finland and Sweden.
This is an article I wrote in the newspaper of this village.
So you wrote this one?
Yeah, I wrote this in Swedish about, and you can translate the
heritage of the Vikings is in the West Finland with its centrum here in Närpes.
Yeah, this is my theory. I believe really on my theory.
We tried to find Närpes there, but it was easier to find it on
here
this.
Here you in colors.
Oh yeah.
And you found this Närpes.
Yeah. So here we basically have Sweden. There's Gotland, and here you will see that is Åland today, the island, and this is like the mainland of Finland. And here you see it's called Närpes. So this is Närpes, also called Närpes and Närtus.
Here it is Närpia.
Oh, and here it's Närpia.
Pia.
So how old is this map here?
This map is 500 years old, but it is handwritten, so it's from a time earlier, some 100 years earlier, and the ia Närpia, I'm quite sure this is Nertus Insula, Latin shortening, because on the maps you must shorten the names.
All right.
So I am convinced that this Närpia means Nertus Insula,
right?
The island of the goddess Nertus.
Oh, there is Närpia.
Närpia, not Närpes. This is wrong, Närpes. Later they call it Närpes.
Yeah,
but on
so
this map,
but here is
Närpia,
Närpia,
which is from 16th century, so about 500 years old. And there are still older maps, but they are all from the 16th century, and also the maps later where Närpes is on the coast. But here Närpes is an island or an archipelago.
Yeah, you can really see
the
that.
colors are interesting also, because you see.
So you see the mainland here in the water.
Norway, Iceland, Greenland is the same colors, and Sjælland in Denmark is the same orange color, and Ireland.
Right.
There were monks coming from Ireland to Närpes in the 9th century, trying to make Christianity the religion, but they could not transform all people to Christianity. So it took some 100 years
for the catch
when
up.
They built the first church about 1200. And the church now in Närpes they started to build in the 15th century.
Right.
Because old church did burn down.
This thing here is pretty interesting. This
colors.
With these many islands.
This is Iceland.
This here.
Iceland.
Is this Iceland?
Yeah, it's Iceland.
Oh yeah, and this is the mainland of Sweden.
Yeah, green, the mainland
Finland.
of Sweden, and red is Russia, and the part of Denmark.
Right, it's down here.
Yeah, and Greenland, which belongs also today to Denmark.
Right.
Greenland is not the same color. It was, but Iceland and Ireland, very special is to remember that the monks came from Ireland to Närpes, and the Viking went from Närpes to Ireland.
Right.
And then longer to Iceland and Greenland and America. And I also believe they went over the American continent in Central America, and then they were the first in the Easter Island. And when they mixed up with the Indians, they also came to Tahiti.
Right.
And the proof is my wife.
Right. There was a picture of they were on a wedding trip or a.
No, it was
not a wedding
50 years. 50 years
50 years anniversary.
50 plus 50 in 99.
So that
from Närpes, but she could be from Tahiti also.
Right. She looks like she could be from Tahiti. And that's you
And
there.
this is from Vietnam.
Right.
We were
And this is the local newspaper, the
the local newspaper in 99.
It's an old one. It's really beautiful.
But now I want to show the reason that I believe that Närpes, which is on this map, is Närpes Insula. Also Närpes is the islands or archipelago 500 years ago on maps from Italy, which were got the information from Catholic bishops who were banned from Närpes when the Lutherans came. They must flee, flee, and they took information about, and then they made this first map here, or one of the first maps here, with Närpes as an island between Sweden and Finland, and here it was Närpes, and later it got the name Närpes.
Right.
But I believe that Närpes is a cartographic abbreviation, shortening of Närpes Insula, and it is written like this: När, and then this letter, which is a th. Still in Iceland they use this letter, and U, and then they have a zeta. But in Latin they write it, if you look on Google, they write it like this: Närpes, and then it's a th.
Right.
And then it's th. And
so it's spelled Närpes.
You find it in Google written in this way.
And that is
it is the same like this.
And that is basically the fertility god, Närpes.
Yeah, fertility goddess of the Vana god system. Vana. It was before, and later there came the Asa gudarna.
Right, so it was pre.
It was before.
Right.
It was the main goddess, the first goddess of fertility was Närpes. Before they believed in holy stones and holy animals and holy waters and so on. But then when they had the first personified goddess, it always in all cultures is a fertility goddess.
Right.
In Greece it's Gaia. In Egypt it is Isis. In Persia, Iran, it is Nintus. And especially interesting, I feel, because I come from Austria, is Danu from the Celtic civilization. It's a fertility goddess of their religion, and there comes the name of the Danube,
right,
which is
the river.
It gives life and fertility.
So you think this religion here is based on this Vana spirituality?
But here they introduced the incest taboo. That means that in Vana systems, the Närpes could be married. She could be married with Njord, her brother.
Right.
Njord. Njord. And they had children, Frey and Freya.
Right.
Frey and Freya. And other some Ostara, and there was a god Ul of the all, of the everything of the all, and he was a man. And then the Njord got a female when they changed to the other gods. But this is a story you can read everywhere. But as I said, this letter th can be or a p.
Right.
And that's why two forms of Närpes. We have Närpes, as you showed, but mostly it is used Närpes. Närpes. And then it is Närpes with E, and today it is Närpes written like this. Närpes. So it comes actually from Närpes Insula.
I can really see that.
Närpia, then Närpis or Närpis, and then, as I show here, Närpes,
Right.
100 years ago, and now Närpes.
Because today it's Närpes and Närpio in Finnish, before Närpes, Närpes, Närtus. I can really see like the logic of this kind of, what do you call it, etymology or the syntax, the semantology.
Semantics,
right.
yeah.
God.
And here we have also places in Närpes which have Ries. For example, Risby. This is a village of Ries, but this comes from Rus, and Rus is the tribe from which Rurik comes. Rurik comes from the Rus tribe. You can read this. He comes from the Rus tribe, and we have many places with Rus here. Rusby, Risnäs, Risåsen. Also
many villages named after him.
And the Rurik was in the 800, and you can find in Google, he comes from the Rus tribe, but they don't really know where the Rus tribe is from, and he was a Viking.
Right. The guy we were talking so much about, the prince, the same DNA paper that is here somewhere buried underneath. So here's all old maps and records of what has happened. There's so much information here. We have 2 books here with
Rurik
maps.
Was a Viking. He was a Viking. Actually, he was a Svion.
Right.
He was a Svion who skriver om Tacitus. He writes in Germania in the capital 44, Germania 44.
So there's a little bit information for you.
Written about the Svions, but the Finns cannot say Svion, so they said Svion, I believe, would be in, because they cannot say 2 consonants after varandra.
Right.
Viin, and they're from Viking.
I get it. Here's also some really cool looking map. Gosh, this history here. So this was it for today. A short history lesson here of what's been going on here in Närpes, and wow, I didn't expect this, to be honest, and wow. So come here, read into the history.
Welcome to Närpes. And I am a psychiatrist who came from Vienna, Austria. Came from Vienna 50 years. I live now in Närpes. I'm close to 75 now. And I'm very, very, very interested of the history of Närpes, to which place I came through my wife. And I feel that she was, when I met her, she was a Viking princess, and now she's a Viking queen.
Right. So Mikael is your guy. Thank you for this, Mikael.
Thank you very much, yourself. I'm flattered that I can tell the world what I believe in.
This was an honor. But now we're gonna end this session. So Mikael is your guy if you want to know something. So just you can reach out to me if Mikael wants to be in contact with you or something like that. If you have some questions about history, maybe I can team up with Mikael, ask him, maybe I can put him in contact with you if you want.
I'm happy in contact. Michael Slama is my name, Slama.
Yes.
It's a Czech name, typical for Austrians from Vienna.
So
Okay.
that was it. So last time.
Okay.
That's the memory.
Okay.
So thanks for today. Have a good day. See you in the next one. So that was it for today. It was a crazy day. Who could have thought to learn so much about this history here? I mean, this predates the Viking time. This is where the Vikings came from. I mean, there's so much data. I think, I mean, for you science buffs, you know, you can try to prove me wrong, but dig into this data, come here for yourself, learn about this place, what happened here. So, what you learn in history, they usually talk about Birka in Sweden, the place where the Vikings came from. But this was before Birka. This was really where it all happened. In my hometown. That was it for today. See you in the next show. Woo!